We got the weekend news for some Apple products and services. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. So if you're new here, what we do on the weekends, usually a Friday or a Saturday, is I review a beer. It takes about 30 seconds. And then we all sit back and relax, and I go through about 20 or 25 different Apple stories for the week. Let's get into the stories right now. Without further ado, first the beer. Let's go. All right, so enjoy whatever you're drinking, whether it's a coffee, an espresso, a martini for all I care. I usually like to enjoy like 1 or 2 beers on the weekends, and I always try some Chicago beers. So without further ado, today, what do I have? I have the Chicago Tavern beer. It's called Haymarket Beer Company right here. It's a light lager like I've been doing from Chicago. Here in Beer Advocate over here, Chicago Tavern beer. It's an 87, pretty good. It says old world style lager, perfect for hanging out in your favorite tavern. So it says it's a European export as well, or lager, which I like. I actually prefer German, but this is pretty good. It's not as maybe, and I'll show you some close-ups of the can. It's not maybe as smooth as some of the other ones. It's got a little more bite to it. But for the weekend, not bad. Love trying new stuff. Let's get into the news. All right, story number 1, and let me just take a step back because this is going to set the story up. I did a video on the iPad Pro just 2 days ago or a day ago, and it kind of ruffled a lot of feathers because I talked about how AI could take away a lot of jobs from the creators, and Apple's creating products now that are going to take the jobs away from these people, and they may not buy those products later. Long story short, you can watch the video, but it still got good conversations going. Maybe I wasn't alone though. Take a look at this. It says Apple apologizes over here for iPad Pro crush ad after massive backlash. So I don't know if you watched the Apple iPad Pro thing. They had basically a video on there where it had a crusher, and it crushed a whole bunch of creative stuff like a piano, instruments, paints, and tools, and all that kind of stuff. Anything that you create with, and it made it into the iPad, all right? And I guess it ruffled a lot of feathers. And you can see here, this article talks about it and stuff like that. So that's not really the important thing here. That's actually, it's just interesting to me that people got I didn't really think of it that way. But then I was told, and let me go ahead and open this up while I'm talking here. So then I was told, all you got to do is just reverse the video, right? And it makes people a lot happier. So take a look at my screen. I'm going to go ahead and click play here. So if you actually take it the other direction, I'm reversed the video completely here. It basically takes the iPad, right? And from the iPad is just an instrument. That's what they're saying. And now you get all of the creative stuff coming out of it. So you get the musical instruments, right? You get the cameras, you get the paints, you get musical, records and stuff like that. You get the clay sculpture. You get all this stuff. And then finally at the very end coming up here after all this paint and everything, you finally get like a trumpet. And that's actually obviously musical instruments. So at the end of the day, that ruffled a lot of feathers. And just reversing it here would make a lot more people happy, it seems. Just a funny article, I guess. And you always got to be careful what you say because I got some backlash in my last video, but at least it gets people talking. And then for story number 2, if it's not bad enough for that advertising person that created the ad that's causing this whole backlash, Apple actually had to apologize about it. Look over here. It says controversial new iPad Pro crush ad might have been inspired by a 2008 LG commercial. You can't really see it here, but if you look back through YouTube and stuff, there's a commercial where they almost do the exact same thing with LG. They crush a whole bunch of stuff, and it's about a phone or something that they had back then that did a lot of creative stuff. So whoever made this video and whoever's the creative director, it looks like they might have copied it. I'm not saying they did. I have no idea. But again, it's just going to make it a little bit worse. People keep piling on now. Just kind of a funny story. All right, so the next story, if you actually watch the iPad event again, this is kind of an interesting thing, maybe for some people. Look over here. It says, Tim Cook rocked made on iPad Nike Air Max 1s 86s during Apple's Let Loose event. You can see it right here. So a lot of people didn't notice it, and I didn't, to tell you, because I don't look at people's feet. But it says made on iPad right here, and then there's a little shoe here. It says Nike made these. This is a one-of-one Nike sneakers, and a lot of people are talking about it. Here's a little bit better picture of it right here. You can see them now, a little bit bigger for you. Anyways, I don't care about the sneakers. They think they look kind of ridiculous. I don't even care, to tell you the truth. But if you actually own those sneakers, 1 out of 1, he wore them in an ad. How much do you think they're worth? I've seen things go for $100,000 that were basically meaningless. I'm thinking like $300,000 to $400,000. People are crazy about sneakers. All right, so we got our first deal of the day. Take a look over here on Amazon. 2002, this is basically the Air, the M2 chip. So it's the base model, the 13.6 inch. Total base model, 8 gigs, 256. But now it's down to $829, the lowest price. So I'm just giving you an alert. I think before it was like $859 or $849. Now $829. I have the Air over here, but this is the larger version, the 15-inch. This is only the 13. But still, I can tell you right now that for most people that just do basic stuff, email and video, a little video conferencing and just check the web and stuff, this is one of the best deals you can get. $829, definitely pick it up. Can't do much better. You know me, I like to talk about the Apple Vision Pro. Now, I'm a little bit cynical about it because it's so expensive, but I do see that it's helping doctors, it's helping, a lot of different industries and stuff, which I think that's where it will be most effective for sure right now. But I'm kind of justified in this article again because I've said this from day one. Take a look. It says Apple Vision Pro 2 may be cut in half, maybe half the price of the original claimed sketchy rumor. So it's a rumor, it's a sketchy rumor, but this person, and let's not even get into who it is. It's not that important because I want to talk more about this. It's really they're saying that it's going to be cut in half as far as the price of it. Now, is it? Well, I think it will be because of the next article coming up here. It says Stanford tech may help the transition from Vision Pro to Apple glasses. So what's really happening after reading this article? Let me just kind of go down here. It says researchers say they have developed a unique nanophotonic metasurface waveguide, mouthful, that can eliminate the need for bulky optics. So learn physics waveguide model. This uses AI, here we go again, algorithms to drastically improve image quality. Long story short, it says that they're basically having it in prototype right now with working models that appear to be attached to a bench in 3D mounted frames. So it looks like they're going to be making these glasses with, and maybe Apple's working with them, maybe they're not. Again, this is just a rumor, but it looks like this is the ultimate goal right here. So getting these things down in cost, all the materials, getting things in specific sizes. They said they're going to be using almost like holograms and stuff so that they can actually see stuff. It's going to be interesting how they create this tech, but they have to get rid of a lot of electronics in that big bulky device. So just like I said before, if you buy that device now, the Vision Pro, you're really a beta tester. It's going to get cheaper next year, well, a couple years from now if they come out with one next year, but the next version is going to be probably cut in half and then maybe even cut in half again. And here's proof that they're working on such a small version that it's going to look nothing like the original in a couple years. As long as we're talking about the iPad event in so much detail today, we're going to talk about it just a little bit more. First, let me just have a sip. You guys can enjoy your coffee or whatever you're drinking. It's the weekend, right? It says Apple needed a little bit of help to shoot its Let Loose event on Apple. So you saw the Apple had the Let Loose event with the iPads like I just mentioned. They shot it on an Apple iPhone, which is impressive, right? You would think so. When you get into the details, though, they had tons of weird things going on in the background to help them make that kind of effect and make the shoot look so good. So in theory, you can maybe make something look that good with an iPhone. But realistically, it says over here, it says Apple has confirmed to Stu that this week's event was shot on an iPhone 15 Pro Max, all right? So it's the Pro Max with the lenses of Panavision attached to certain scenes. So they were using upgraded lenses on it. So me and you don't have, access to Panavision lenses. I'm sure they're probably like $300,000. And maybe that helps them a little bit more than they're letting on. So I think Apple should disclose some of that. I know Apple likes to tell you things, when they sell laptops and stuff, and then they don't tell you, they say we're only going to split the RAM, bandwidth in half, and they don't tell you some stuff. Here they're not telling you that stuff either. I think they should, but overall it's still impressive for an iPhone. It's still actually really impressive, and I actually may start shooting some stuff, maybe some video and stuff, maybe at the beer can on the iPhone. All right, so the next article is actually maybe not Apple, but you can kind of squeeze it in there. It says TikTok is about to start labeling your AI-generated content automatically. You can see it right here. This is by 9to5Mac. So if you kind of think about this, it makes sense, I guess, but let's take a look at what it says here. It says a social media platform is going to be doing this by implementing content credentials, all right? So it says content credentials attach specific metadata to content, which TikTok can then use to instantly recognize labeled or AI stuff. That's kind of cool, right? But then I go, if you read the article over here, it says it's going to do AI generated content, and then it says, or at least the content it knows about. So this is the kind of the big rub here. So they're going to follow these standards that a lot of places are going to maybe follow, maybe not follow. Some companies already follow it, some companies don't follow it. But there's going to be a whole bunch of other companies that aren't following this. So they only know about certain things that are AI generated. So by labeling them AI generated only on specific things, I think that actually makes it worse. You tell me in the comments, because if you don't, then when you see something that's not labeled, you're going to think automatically that it's completely not AI generated. If they don't know for sure, do you think they should label it? That's my I guess that's my argument here. You tell me if I'm right or wrong. I don't know. All right, and we're still on this kind of trend here with the iPad. Sorry about this if you don't like them, but here's the next story. It says new iPad Pro demand likely to be low for 2 reasons. Can you guess the reasons? I read through the article. It says that there's a couple different reasons. Number one is going to be it increased in price by $200 over the last model. It obviously gives you more RAM or I think it's more storage and stuff for the actual same cost or for the same model, I guess. But you still got to pay the extra $200, so it's not giving you two for free for sure. But then down here it says the other reason, obviously, is the addition of the iPad Air and being the larger version also. it's going to take away from that. So those two factors of it going up in cost and the iPad Air being so good is going to really take away from the sales. It says that it's going to be able to reach about 4.5 to 5 million units in 2024, which will be down from 2023, but still almost 5 million units of that, and they're over at, what is there, start at $1,299. That's a lot of stuff Apple's selling, and it's just an interesting article if you like, the numbers and stuff that Apple's actually selling. All right, this next article is by Apple Insider. It's kind of interesting, but it's not so much about the article. I want to get your post. So I'll tell you what to post in a second. It says smartphone addiction is real, and we all probably need to do something about it. So the article goes on to say that not only is it just a problem, but it causes nearsightedness. By looking at your phone, your vision can't really focus long-term out there any longer. So people are getting, more, they're basically having problems with their vision as it comes down to. It says chronic dry eye, big deal. It says smart use of, it's detrimental to your mental health. I guess that's a bigger problem there. It says smartphone addiction. Anyways, long story short, I just want to do, since we have this platform, post, if you can go and look at your on-screen time for maybe the last couple of days, what's your average screen time that you're actually looking at your phone? It should list it in your phone. I know it does on some Google devices and stuff. Take a look in there and just post in there, how many hours a day are you looking at the screen? I'm just curious. All right, the next one is also about AI, and I know this is kind of a theme. If you don't like it, then I apologize again. We're not going to always be in AI, but this is just articles that keep coming out. So this one's by 9to5Mac. It says Bloomberg said iOS 18 AI features will be powered by Apple Silicon-equipped data centers. So down here, and this is going against what a lot of people are saying. So originally they said that Apple's creating these, they want it to be on the actual phone or on the computer, the AI generation, and they won't be using outside, data centers. I said that's not possible, for the bigger stuff. And this proves it right here. It says coming on the heels of the Wall Street Journal report that Apple was developing its own chips geared towards powering AI-focused data centers. Today, Mark Gurman, he basically confirmed the report that they're adding new details. So it says the company is placing high-end chips similar to the ones designed for the Mac in cloud computing servers designed to process the most advanced AI tasks coming on Apple devices, according to the people familiar with the matter. So they're basically saying that people familiar with the matter are saying that they're going to do some of the simplest tasks on your phone. It says, over here, it'll be the simple tasks on your phone, but more complex ones will go off into the data center, and Apple's creating that cloud computing right now for that. So that's what we're all waiting for, to see how far does this go. It's going to be interesting, but it doesn't seem like they're going to keep everything on your phone like we were hoping for. I actually didn't think it was possible, and I'm pretty much confirming it here. A couple of videos ago, we talked about Apple smartphones going down worldwide as far as the use of them. In America, they're kind of holding strong. It says right here, Apple Insider, it says Apple maintains U.S. market share as smartphone demand continues to weaken. So here it is here, but if you look at this down here, it's kind of interesting. So Apple stayed at 52% from 2023 to 2024. Samsung over here went from 27% to 31%. So they're actually increasing. And this is Motorola. It actually went up 1 point from 8 to 9%, but all the other ones suffer. The one that was surprising to me was the Google phones. Look at it's this little line here, 2%. It looks like it's like 1% now. I thought there was a lot more Google phones. I use a couple of phones, but I have a Google phone. I love it. I'm shocked that it's that low. All right, this is a story if you're kind of interested in developing for Apple. It's kind of something that came out that's good. 9to5Mac, it says Apple is making it easier to develop your first app using pathways. So finally it says Apple's developer site has long been a massive hub for resources for developers, but previously there was never a clear path to helping you, right? So now it says that it's got a developer site, but it's introduced this thing called Pathway right here. And it includes like a whole package of stuff. Getting started with as an Apple developer, design, Swift UI, games, Vision OS, distribute to the App Store. So you go ahead and take a look for the Apple Pathways here, and it's going to give you kind of a course. These are going to be it says 7 or 8 courses broken down into this content. So it's going to give you a way to actually figure all this out if you're kind of just trying to get the information from all different places. So Apple's finally put this together, which is a really good thing. I think it helps a lot of developers that want to develop for either games or apps right now. All right, the next one is kind of interesting by 9to5Mac here. It says John Tiernes emerging as most likely successor to Tim Cook as Apple CEO. Now take this with a grain of salt. It's just kind of a rumor. But it says Tim Cook is 64 years old right now. So he's getting up there, obviously. He may want to retire in a couple of years. This is not right away. But if he retires, let's say in 4 or 5 years, this is the guy right here, John Tiernes, and I'm probably messing up his name. He might become the Apple new CEO. They did say, though, if Tim Cook left right away, it's most likely going to be this other guy down here. Let me just see if I can find him, Jeff Williams, who is 61. But they said that Apple probably wants to find someone that's going to stay with them for at least like 10 or 15 years. So if a couple more years go by, Jeff Williams will not be the kind of the person they think. It'll be more likely be this guy here because he's a lot younger. I think that's age discrimination. I don't know. But anyways, you get the idea. This is just an article, obviously. And at the end of the day, they got their own reasons for doing it. It's not that. But still, kind of interesting to know. I just wanted to touch on this sale again because it's still one of the best sales out there, and I touched on it about a week ago. Right now on Amazon, Apple Studio Display is still $12.99. I'll have a link in the description if you want to check it out. Standard glass, standard stand and stuff, but still $300 off on the Apple Studio Display you almost never hear of. It's been like this for a while too. That actually might tell me that Apple's maybe developing a new monitor. You tell me. I mean, obviously they have this new double OLED glass and stuff that they're creating for the iPads. Maybe they're making a display like that. That would be crazy, wouldn't it? And maybe they're trying to get rid of some of these now. But overall, this has been around for maybe for about a week or two, and it's kind of surprising. So if you want a studio display, now's the time to pick one up. All right, the next article here is from Apple Insider, and we all knew this, right? It says Apple profits surge as consumers choose pricier phone storage options. That's interesting, and it's right, but we all know that how they kind of get you on the storage. So down here, let me just see if I can figure it out. Here it is down here. So look at this graph. This is by Consumer Intelligence Research Partners. So here's the iPhone 15. It says 53% of them right now are upgrading their storage off the base models. On the 14, it was only 39%. On the 13, it was only 32%. On the 12, it was only 28%. So obviously, that keeps going up. It's because Apple isn't giving us any more. That's why we need more. But anyways, it's slowly going up like this. It's pretty crazy. And on the Pro Maxes, obviously, it's a lot higher than just the base model. But overall, it's 44% of people are using, paying for the upgrade, at least maybe through their providers. But still, kind of an interesting chart there. But it shows you that, they're not increasing anything. Just like we talk about the MacBooks and stuff, the Airs and stuff, coming with 8 gigs of RAM. It's the same difference. As we go through the years, we need more. We desperately need it, but they're not upgrading it, so they keep getting, this is why they're doing it. Look at the cost. They're making a lot of money off of it. And then this next chart over here, this is from 9to5Mac. They were talking about the iPad again, the Pro, and some other ones. But take a look. This graph just is funny to look at. So here's the Pro model, the new one, the M4 Pro, the iPad Pro. So if you look down here, $1,299 for the base model, but if you want 2 terabytes, it's up to $24.99. So it basically almost doubles the cost of it. Here's the Air. This is the M4 iPad Pro. Here's the Air over here. You can see that the Air starts at $599, but if you want 1 terabyte and sell, it's $12.49. So that basically over doubles the cost of the device. So just for a little bit of storage, we all know like a terabyte storage is what? In the store, it's like $60 or something. Here they're doubling the actual cost of the entire device just to go up like a terabyte or whatever. It's not even a terabyte. It's going up from 128 to 1 terabyte. And that's all you're getting for that. And you're doubling the cost. So it's just kind of a funny thing to look at as you're looking at that, because it's just crazy how they could justify that. They do it. And I mean, I would do it too. I mean, I'm going to be completely, people pay it. I would do it too. It's just kind of crazy how we all do. All right, so the next story is more of a feel-good story because I'm sick of all the YouTubers that actually, hey, here's my Apple stickers. I think you've seen that too, unboxings and stuff. They get all excited. Here it is. At last, Apple's dumping those pointless, wasteful stickers. So it says in this article by Apple Insider that they're basically getting rid of them on the iPads. So it's probably going to pass through on all the other devices as well. The funny thing about this article is not so much the article, is down here. I don't know if you remember this story. Justin Trudeau from Canada. It was a couple years ago, but he actually was sitting and talking to a class, kind of doing a video conference, and he stuck on an Apple sticker on a HP, I guess, just a notebook or something, to make him look like he's using a Mac or something, and he didn't think anyone would catch him. It's a really funny story because, look how ridiculous that looks, and everyone, of course, caught him. It makes you wonder, right? But still made me laugh. I think it makes you laugh too. All right, the next one, again, maybe not so much an Apple story, but it's getting close, right? Because we all have this. We all have Prime accounts. It says more ads coming to Prime Video, including interactive shopping ads during pauses. So as you know, a while ago, if you had a subscription to Amazon Prime, you wouldn't get any ads, right? Now they're charging, then they went to this thing where they're going to charge you $3 down here if you want to get rid of the ads. So now we all have ads, right? But now it's saying they're going to be doing more ads. And not only more ads, it says, let me just see in here, they're going to do carousel ads that will play during the normal ad breaks, providing a variety of suggested items to shop for. And it's also going to do, reading through the whole thing, it's crazy. It says that you can actually place things into your kind of, your basket on the TV while you're watching these ads and stuff, depending on where you are and what platform you're on. That's all I need, right? That's all people need is like their little kid or something, adding things to the Amazon basket or ordering things without your knowledge. So we'll have to see how this works, but it's kind of crazy. Still funny. They still want that. They're going to make everyone change that $3 thing, I think, pretty soon. I don't know why they just don't raise their other cost, I guess. Maybe people will get mad there as well. I'm not for that, trust me. But overall, just an interesting article. All right, the next one, you tell me how you feel about this. It says, new iPad Pro and iPad Air no longer include a charger in the box in some countries. I believe in America it does. but I guess part of the European Union, including Britain, because before this is like some kind of Brexit rule that still applies to them or something. But here it is. So it says what's in the box in some of these countries in Europe and stuff. You get the iPad Pro and you get a USB-C charging cable. So my question to you is, if you're spending $12.99, I guess it's the same argument on the phone, but this is more, I guess it's a little bit different, I guess, maybe not. But if you're spending that much money, don't you expect to get at least a charger with it? I mean, just the block of a charger. Here they are. They're saying that it's for the environment and stuff, where realistically, I think it's to save a couple bucks. But you get the idea. I just want to know what you guys think. Is it something that you finally turned over to and say, I don't need any more? Or would you like a new one? Because technology seems to get better, more efficient, and your other devices get old, right? So you can't use them forever. You tell me. Post in the comments. This next one's a positive article, I think, for all of us. Over here from 9 to 5 Mac, it says Microsoft iOS app store launches in July, website rather than app. So this is kind of cool. It says, we learned that last year Microsoft iOS app store was in the works, and the company has now announced that this will launch in July. So the iOS for Apple Microsoft Store. Initially, it will be limited to Microsoft games, but will later open up to iPhone game developers, giving them the alternative outlet to Apple's official store. Very interesting, right? So I guess as part of, some of the lawsuits and stuff, Apple has to open up some of the competitive stuff that they have. And this is one of the kind of the things that they have to do. And Apple or Microsoft came in and took, they went in right away and took, as much as they could from that. And now they're going to be releasing games on there. But I think it's also like a win-win for everybody, because it's going to make more competition with the games. Maybe Apple will get better at it. So over time, I think this is actually a good thing. You tell me in the comments. All right, we're going to wrap this up with kind of another sale. It's not really a great sale, but it doesn't happen that often. So over here, this is just a 2003. It's an M2 chip. This is the Mac Mini, 8 gigs of RAM, but it's got the upgraded SSD in here to 512. Again, not a great deal, but still $699. Now, why isn't this? You don't usually see this. So what they usually do is they sometimes sell for $499 the base model, but then it goes up to $799 if you want to add the extra space. They don't give you the discount with the extra space. This one does. So it's $699, 13% off if you want the extra space. Still, again, we don't know when these new ones are coming out, but if you're looking for a Mac Mini, I can attest to the M2 here. I would probably, unless you're doing, if you're doing a lot of stuff that's work related and stuff like, or graphic arts and video processing, you probably want 16 gigs also. But if you're just a normal user, this is good to have the upgraded storage. And for $699, it's a great device. All right, so let's wrap up the weekend news. Cheers. Sit back, relax, enjoy whatever you have. Coffee, espresso, wine, martinis. People have told me everything so far. Just enjoy the weekend, and you might be watching this during the week, and I apologize about that. I have no control over it. But I do this every week. I try to, and I always tell people I'm going to eventually go live with this. This is kind of a test run. I want to try to get the numbers up, and then we'll go live into it. We'll have maybe some guests and stuff. We'll talk about tech, showcase products, do a whole bunch of cool stuff. Post in the comments, though. I need more comments on these videos. I can get into the algorithm, get more views, and then we can do this a lot quicker with the live shows. We'll talk to everybody soon. Peace.